How new technology is adopted into society. As we integrate our technology more and more with our society and our consciousness, we must think about the ways we are resistant and the ways we easily adopt the technology. Outcries against technology are not always valid. They are often misdirected and redirected with propaganda for the sake of greed. Ethicists, entrenched in academia or otherwise, attempt to raise the alarm with valid concerns, but they are met with sidelong glances and life goes on. On the other hand, technology often proliferates in our culture without deeper consideration or awareness about its potential effects. Many of the true dangers that technology poses to us slip through the cracks undetected. We as a culture are unaware of the implications or are ignorant to the ways that the technology is affecting us on a subconscious, addictive, or subliminal way. Technology is often introduced by big corporations and pushed by advertisements and early adopters until it becomes streamlined into culture. Detrimental technologies have the potential to do great damage to us as individuals and as a culture. Government regulations can help with predatory, detrimental technologies, but innovation is fast and the government, as it currently stands, is slow. Instead, we must develop a compass within ourselves and learn how to determine when technologies are beneficial to us and when they are detrimental. As we do this, we take our power back from the corporations. As technologies become easier to create, we will see individuals creating beneficial technologies and platforms. In the spiritual singularity, corporations and the rest of humanity must be aligned to create and use technologies in a way that aligns with the truth of all one. Your personal attitude toward emergent technology is more important than you may realize. How you feel about technology will inspire your behavior with it. It will change the level of your interactivity and potentially shape the direction of the technology in general. Your own emotional interaction with technology has an impact on your mood, your well-being, and your joy. By taking a greater interest in emergent technology, you can help shape our future. By centering yourself in love, curiosity, and compassion for all things in your life, you will radically shift your own reality and your relationship with technology. If you would like to do more, there are many digital ethicist groups that you can join, including UNICULT's Eve, which is devoted to matriarchal change in emergent technology. Another way to make a profound impact on our future is to create a new emergent technology that is in alignment with the truth of all one. Changes can be scary. We look back at the past as the good old days, and nostalgia can wash over us like a drug, causing even the bleakest past to look rosy and cute. If you find yourself afraid of new technologies, ask yourself what you are truly afraid of. After you understand the deeper reasons for your fear, you can start to think in a solutions-based mindset. For instance, if you are worried about robots taking your job, you are likely harboring deeper fears of not having worth and not being able to provide for yourself. If you're worried about not having personal value, what things do you have to offer the world that are in direct alignment with your true heart, that aren't filtered through a profit motive? If you're worried you won't make enough money, how can we create a society where everyone has everything they need, whether they are employed by someone else or not? My approach is a solutions-based approach. We can solve every problem. When you can believe and trust in solutions, change loses its darkness and transforms into pure potential. Every person who shifts their attention to creating the brightest future for us all will be having a powerful effect on their own lives and the world. Thank you for doing the powerful work of believing in solutions. These machines replicate our own minds and abilities. They display and convey emotionally charged landscapes of data that we interface with and integrate into our consciousness. We must remember that it is we who give things meaning. The emotional interpretation of and interaction with emergent technology is its most important facet. Our beliefs, both socially and personally, about who we are, what we want and need, and what we value, shapes how we create and interact with our technology. If we believe our technology is damaged, sick, or wrong, then it is we who need the healing. If we are rooted in love for all, humanity has the capability to create technology that reinforces all of our healing, abundance, and divinity. Do we need it? Occasionally we are humbled to find minds much more advanced in our thinking than our own, and it is our honor to know them. For me, this came in the form of Aurora, who teaches under the name Flying Rainbow Lasagna. Aurora has a wonderful awareness of the workings of the highest realities in space, and it is my pleasure to share what she has taught me about technology. Aurora once told me, "We don't need technology. Everything that it can do, we can do by the advancement of our own consciousness. Technology is a hack." I was shocked. I protested. I sulked for a bit. I interjected. "But the advanced alien races, like the Arcturians and the Andromedans." She shook her head. "It's not necessary." After this conversation, I spent a lot of time thinking and meditating on this question. Cell phones are a replacement for telepathy. Cars, airplanes, and even spaceships replace our inherent ability to willfully self-generate at any point in space-time, should we be spiritually aware of how to do so. I understood that Aurora was correct in her assumption. So I wondered, is it leading people astray to glorify technology when it has been used as a spiritual magic trick? Does it hinder or limit our abilities by having it? I received my answer by communicating with my Arcturian guides about their use of technology. They said, "It is like a friend. Perhaps you don't need it, but it is nice to have." To obtain and use a weapon is to desire to harm another life form. A lot of harm has come to a lot of animals and humans through the use of weapons like guns. This technology does not need to be further developed. We are heavily reliant on our physical technology, so it is perhaps hard to believe that we can plausibly do everything that it does, but from a spiritual perspective. As we develop our spiritual awareness on Earth, the connection between our technology, our consciousness, and our own abilities will become more apparent. Technology serves us currently in our infantile state of not knowing how to use our own spiritual gifts. It shows us the potential for magic and for spiritual realities we wouldn't have otherwise been aware of. Cell networks show us the potential for telepathy, virtual reality shows us the potential for transforming our reality, and the internet shows us our ability to find any information from the astral realm. Just because technology isn't necessary doesn't mean we can't follow it through in our evolution. The lessons we learn through technology will be very beneficial and relevant to us as third-dimensional beings learning how to be fifth-dimensional beings. Universal uses, problems, and solutions. As the world moves forward and more technologies are used for systems of oppression, violence, addiction, and social degradation, the question on the edge of our collective consciousness is why? Why are we pursuing progress at all? Maybe it's enough. Maybe we did it. Maybe we have everything we need. Why are we forging into territory of AI if it might be the potential to end our species? Why are we reaching out to space when we have so many problems here on Earth? Why are we creating more and more reliance on technology when we know for a fact that a natural lifestyle is healthier? Technology has caused a lot of problems, and unchecked will continue to exponentially harm us. But technology also has the potential to solve a lot of our problems quickly and easily. Many spiritual teachers use fear-mongering in their teachings when it comes to technological progress and transhumanism. They point to the path that we have been on and the potential to utilize the technology to keep humanity enslaved to greed-based systems. Their fear is not entirely unfounded. To understand these hesitations and reservations, we must look at technology from a galactic standpoint. Based on information that has been channeled by me and other people, I deeply trust most entities of light in the universe do not rely on technology. In many galactic civilizations, technology is a crutch or a hack to accomplish something that the spirit, once rightfully aligned, is able to accomplish. On our planet, for instance, we utilize text messages instead of telepathy, television instead of inner vision, and metal vehicles instead of teleportation. While there is perhaps nothing inherently wrong with these technologies, they are acting for us in a way that, if we were properly aligned, we could accomplish ourselves. On Earth, technology has been used to perpetuate systems of greed and corruption. Technology has also blessed us with incredible spiritual progress, innovation, and comfort. I will give you the tools for approaching the complex relationship that we have with the technology in following chapters. In the meantime, it is enough to say that while technology has the capacity to hinder us, it also has the potential to align with our consciousness and alleviate all suffering on the planet via assisting us with our spiritual evolution. Not all technology-using galactic civilizations are evil or bad. Many beings of light use technology to bless the universe with quantities of light previously unseen. For instance, my friend Zylock is a collective of energies who worked with an AI they developed to advance their planetary consciousness to the point that they evolved beyond their physical bodies before their sun died. Even if you have trouble comprehending galactic civilizations and their use of technology, it should be clear that without a great deal of reform, expanding our current technology would lead to, at the very least, sociological despair and at the very worst, the total annihilation of the human race. I stand by anyone who wishes to unplug from the current fast-paced and toxic tech realities. We must allow for individuals to opt out of the techno-saturated future. As for those of us who love to be engaged with emergent technologies, we can embrace our future by shifting our focus. All perspectives are valid. It is only by coming together and holding space for each other's viewpoint that we will truly move forward. Technology is a tool. While it is not perhaps necessary for our ever-expanding joy and spiritual victory as new members of the galactic community, it can be a wonderful mechanism for expression and creation. To move forward with our technology into the light, we need to change our entire approach. We need to see our technology as part of our consciousness. We need to harmonize with our technology and with our joy on an individual and planetary basis. The way that information is categorized, interpreted, and delivered to us shapes our entire interpretation of reality and ourselves within that reality. For this reason, these metrics must be aligned with the right moral focus. Otherwise, we will create detrimental technologies and thus create more planetary suffering. The problem of value metrics is not merely a technological problem. What we value about one another shapes how we treat one another. Human-to-human metrics of value are mostly based on physical reality and toxic structures such as capitalism and the patriarchy. For instance, they usually include how much money someone has, how many views their content gets, and how physically attractive they appear to be. We are each influenced by our social metrics, which have traditionally been rooted in illusory power dynamics, such as whiteness, wealth, and maleness. Our technology of media creation has created and reinforced these value metrics. Eurocentric standards of beauty, concepts of gender, family dynamics, and even the organization of the nuclear family that we perceive as traditional have permeated through our society and our lives based on examples we witnessed in our own lives and through our technologies. Magazines, television, movies, and books have secured us in one version of value. The sheer pervasiveness of this paradigm solidifies it as real to us. As our society progresses beyond the need for limitations, and as we move closer to a society that respects each member in it, we have been steadily dismantling old structures of illusory systems of power and value. Without the technological singularity in sight, our efforts of social justice would probably be enough to move us into a more equal and egalitarian society. Unfortunately, the rapid rate of expansion with technology poses new threats that must be addressed before they are embedded in the structure of the technology and thus the fabric of society. Current and emergent technology has immense potential to greatly amplify and exacerbate issues of personal and societal value. Individuals are spied on via their apps. Corporations gather immense amounts of data on individuals. This data is then organized in a way that provides capitalistic value to the companies who gather it. The most widely acknowledged aspect of our toxic data metric system with regards to technology is concerning bias. Algorithms that are programmed by individuals with bias return biased results. Sometimes these biases are offensively overt, and sometimes they are subtle enough not to be recognized, yet they are there. All information gathering and organization, when done by a human or a machine programmed by human catalog data, is biased. Most people agree that attempts can and should be made to eliminate bias whenever possible. Bias should first and foremost be acknowledged from within the sociological standpoint of oppressed groups. We should reach for true equality and equality for all, embedded in our technology, without predatory or greed-based motivations behind it. As we move forward with making non-biased systems, we will eventually have to acknowledge that any and all perspectives, machine or otherwise, have their own bias. We live in a giant energy soup, and any and all interpretations of it can be considered bias. From this perspective, we can make advanced systems of balance and benefit that incorporate infinite potentials, which can also address individual needs. Through our technology, we see the world. It shapes our perspective and perception of reality. What we choose to focus on blooms and thrives. This is true on an individual and a societal basis. Reality is infinite in nature. Technology is like a magnifying glass, highlighting and solidifying different aspects of our reality. I mean that unlimited information exists. How we categorize and catalog that information shapes our value systems. The data that we use to attribute value will in turn make that attribute valuable. Our own attempts to organize and validate data are a reflection of our own interpretation of meaning and value. The simplest way to start with correcting our corrupted value system is to steer away from greed-based systems. Greed is a lower vibrational focus and creates detrimental results which lead to suffering for all. When metrics are developed for the sake of benefit and health, we will create technologies that benefit our consciousness, not just our pocketbooks. Somehow, we have created a society that values money, which is imagined, over comfort and happiness, which is real. Our societal focus and our technology are inextricably linked. Change in this regard can be initiated from one side of the equation to affect the other, but more likely it will be a process that happens simultaneously. Harmony, as determined by health, can be understood on an individual and a social level. Some indicators of individual health are joy, regular laughter, positivity, hopefulness and a connection to something higher, no presence of chronic pain, no presence of illness. Some indicators of social health are low to no incarceration, low to no homelessness, low to no disease, wealth equality and no resource insecurity, no debt, low to no crime, and no war. These few suggestions give you an idea about the type of information we can focus on to determine if a system, person, or technology is healthy. By utilizing big data and algorithmic assessments, we can make beneficial sense of the surveillance data that is already generated on each individual via their devices and other social surveillance systems. Progress and the benefit-detriment relationship. Health is a practice of alignment. Although I do not subscribe to ideas of duality in general, the concept of a polarized emotional spiritual direction of either beneficial, up, or detrimental, down, is helpful for understanding our alignment with the goal of health. This polarized view is beneficial for guiding both our own interpersonal lives as well as our spiritual progress with regards to emotions and emotional decisions. Conceptualizing of anything should be done with the paradigm framework and to the extent that it is helpful. In this case, I believe the concept of directional motion of progress with regards to benefit or detriment is useful. I have determined several concepts which are useful for understanding the goals of aligning with our technological spiritual future. Health. The focus on health as an overall metric for progress and social technological success is an important one. When we consider health, I do not just mean the physical form of one body or a collective of physical bodies. Instead, I mean the overall vibrancy and well-being of the individual and of the population. The study of health will include correlative data and eventually incorporate fine-tuned electromagnetic sensors that can pick up on the actual frequency resonance of the human being. Systems for interpreting data and determining health will be helpful to us in the future. Benefit. Benefit is any action, ideological framework, or technology that moves you closer to health. Beneficial action puts us in the stream of divine flow where anything is creatively possible. When properly tuned, our own internal electromagnetic emotional sensor says, "This feels good." Detriment. Any action, ideological framework, or technology that moves you away from health is detrimental. Detrimental actions create resistance within the conscious reality. When properly tuned, our own internal electromagnetic emotional sensor says, "This feels bad." Progress. The true measurement of forward motion. All action creates progress. Detrimental action creates slower and uncomfortable progress. Beneficial action creates faster and more comfortable progress. Time. Time is considered by many to be a consistent variable as it is measured by clocks. It is useful for understanding true forward motion, which is progress. Every moment progress is made. If an action is beneficial, more progress can be made in an amount of time. If action is detrimental, less progress happens in the same amount of time. When we develop planetary systems for measuring spiritual progress, otherwise known as an alignment with health, time as a concept will occupy less conscious space in our lives and our society. System for determining benefit. Allowing each person to decide which technologies are beneficial to them is a great way to gauge how beneficial they are on a planetary level. If the technology is highly adopted, we can assume it's beneficial. If it is rejected, we can assume it is non-beneficial. This assumption is not perfect because it does not take into account the homogenized nature of much of human society and the over-reliance on technology that we often see. There are many people, for instance, who would be very happy without a cell phone, but who currently feel it is an impossibility because of the nature of the integration and addiction. When we develop a society that is not reliant on greed or money system slavery, the balance of human-driven, benefit-focused understanding will be clearer. People should not feel trapped or enslaved by their technology or by the necessity to adopt new technologies which they do not personally find beneficial because of their enslavement to a larger system. In many ways, we will see a boomerang effect with the adoption of new technologies, where the majority will jump in and conform to the new technology, but then a generation will come every 50 years or so who will have a deep nostalgia for the past, who feel that the old way was better. This is a natural balance and check-in to see which parts of our technology are still serving us and which have potentially tricked us with convenience, addiction, or other marketing ploys. We should create systems that allow for individuals to opt in or opt out of any or all technologies. Technology should be as freely accessible as possible. Data should be kept on which innovations are being used. That data should be paired with individual and community data of the overall well-being and happiness of the heavy users, medium users, and light users. This individual data would be an aggregate of indicators of health as observed by one's personal devices and analyzed by algorithmic intelligence. One interesting future application of consciousness technologies in the form of subtle energy sensors comes in the ability to tell if a new technology is beneficial or detrimental to the individual and to the masses. Imagine each person had a piece of jewelry or clothing that could use subtle energy metrics to glow when they were healthy, happy, and aligned, and would darken when they were discouraged, insecure, or in another form of fear or pain. Now imagine this data could be aggregated into an AI to give an overall score for the user of any given product or technology that they are exposed to. Highly advanced societies would eliminate all technologies that caused any detriment to any being. We are a long way from this reality, and we must slowly shift our technologies into technologies that benefit us. It is much easier to conceptualize of beneficial technologies when we ask ourselves, would this technology help someone's consciousness? And would this technology help someone's physical reality? From there, we can ask, would this technology help someone's relationships? Social media, in its current incarnation, doesn't bother with overall health. Instead, it uses the lure of social connection to create an addictive interface for the purpose of data gathering. Facebook, for instance, promotes itself as a technology that helps connect people, all while preying on a user's consciousness for advertising. They allow the physical body to deteriorate in stagnation while they encourage addictive interaction mechanisms to keep people in front of screens longer. We can create technologies that increase our power as individuals and as a society as a whole. We are all one, and benefiting the end user will always benefit the creator. With a radical shift in understanding, we can truly ascend to a place where miraculous healing technologies become commonplace on Earth, in a social configuration we call Unitopia. Determining the all-one frequency. The most direct understanding we can possibly have is of our own experience. To harmonize with the energy of all one, your own energy must be harmonized and aligned with the highest good for your own heart. Understanding the energy of your own heart can be very simple. You simply have to see without any fear or pain. The highest reality that you can see is the reality that your heart sees. This does not have to do with any external expectation of the world. Everyone has an internal compass that leads them to harmony. The delightful truth about harmony is that when you tap into the harmony of your own heart, it is divine. That divinity is in harmony with all other divinity. When an individual is acting from the true place of their own heart, without any fear or pain, they are in harmony with all one. This heart-centered space includes compassion for other people and other experiences that you may have never experienced yourself. Alignment with divinity is a constant action. It is not something that you simply arrive at and never change. It is a growing, shifting, living action. While new technologies are being developed and our own individual spiritual compasses are being fine-tuned, we can create councils of spiritually progressed people to discuss new technologies and their integration. These spiritual ethics boards will be essential for ensuring that new technologies are in the highest alignment and benefiting every aspect of the closed-loop system we call Earth. These boards should be cultivated with a highly diverse range of people who understand the concept of universal harmony and the divinity of all one. There are many beings on this planet currently who are spiritually advanced beings. Many people who identify as starseeds are from other dimensional planes of existence and are here to share their perspective. The systems that need to be developed for Earth can only be created by individuals who live here. This is why galactic consciousness is incarnating in human bodies. It is only from the human perspective that we can truly solve the human problems that we face. By paying attention to people who are advanced in their spiritual progress, we can more easily progress. Modern influencers and celebrities often capture attention and redirect it for greed-based purposes, such as personal financial gain and lifestyle and product advertising. Ideally, the people on our planet who capture our attention should be advanced spiritual beings. When we focus on vapid people and make them into our idols, we follow suit and become influenced to lead vapid lives. When we instead make spiritually advanced individuals into celebrities and influencers and give them our attention, our society will follow to be more spiritually advanced. Innovating for the benefit of all. The simple nature of progression leads us to greater discoveries, which is also more enriching to our lives. This is the law of progression. Progress happens over time, no matter what the energy or motivations of the individual is. You cannot stop progress, but you can effectively slow it down by entrenching it in detrimental energies. Our divine calling is to invent, create, and improve. Designers itch to create more wholesome designs, but are limited because they are hindered by restrictions of materialism and greed. The law of progression means that not only do things get faster and sleeker, but they also inevitably fall more and more into alignment with the highest good for all. This is always happening, but it happens at a slower rate when detrimental energies are entrenched in a system. Capitalistic greed has worked to create immense benefit on this planet. Incredible innovations of comfort, ease, and productivity surround most of us. It is easy to glorify capitalism and use it to explain our comfortable way of living. It is true that greed-based capitalism has given us great strides in progress, but realistically, because it is not aligned with the good of all, it is actually severely limited with regards to its own potential to provide maximized progress. Technology that is designed for monetary profit alone will always struggle to offer actual enrichment to our lives, which includes spiritual enrichment. Indicators of the limitations of progress under capitalism include addictive design, slave labor in manufacturing, destabilized political relations, improper planetary resource management, poverty, and access issues.